Hey everybody, Hunter here, and it is another boring day in NFTs. Nothing's happened over the weekend. Nothing crazy happening in the market. It's gonna be a short show. What am I saying? Today is gonna be one of the most insane morning mints that we've ever recorded. The last 72 hours, Friday evening until this morning, have been nothing but fireworks. It's been nothing but insanity. I'm literally spinning right now. Like it's hard to explain just how insane things have truly gotten. You know, we had an insane Twitter Spaces Friday night. I think it was one of the most iconic ones I've ever been in, and the fact that I got to host it blows my mind. We watched projects launch. We watched people make some of the biggest purchases of their lives, the biggest sales of their lives. Projects that I think are going to be iconic for the next 10 years have launched. I mean, it's just crazy. Like Bored Ape Yacht Club breaking a 28th floor. Watching a sale for a ghost go for $2 million. Watching the hundreds collab literally be one of the hottest and craziest selling merchandise collabs that we've seen yet. Punks this morning having one of the craziest mornings they've ever had. Logan Paul buying 2 punks. It's just freaking insane. And I'm super pumped for it. And I'm even realizing, like, in the middle of all this, like, I'm forgetting that, Richard even ended up buying a punk, and there's a story behind that. Like me sending him a text and saying, buy this, and him picking it up 30 seconds later for 62 ETH. And not a punk, an ape. Just insanity. So buckle in. It's going to be a long show, possibly. So much has happened. I have so many things to talk about. Justin Taylor has an interview that's out this morning. Please go listen to that. It's super insightful. He pretty much calls the Oni floor and calls the Oni project being super successful. And I agreed. And then I didn't buy as many as I ought to have when the floor was 0.4 during that interview. The other craziness, punks, Logan Paul picking up stuff, just all around insanity. The one big thing I will note that most people might not be aware of is that I am part of the Big Brain Society team at this point. We are launching this week. The art is dope. The roadmap is dope. The fact that there's going to be physicals down the road is super sick. And the fact that there's kind of a departure from, hey, let's just do profile photo avatars and to, hey, let's make a story, let's make characters, let's make a brand, let's make something that people can get emotionally attached to is super exciting. So let's start it. Let's just jump into things. Like, this is probably not going to be the most normal morning mint. And like I said, it might be a little bit longer one. 2 things. One, understand this chart. If you don't yet, understand why this is important, because the next news topic I'm going to get into is super important. So there's supply, there's demand. Supply and demand are about to change drastically. Supply is about to dry up as more people diamond hand. Demand is about to go exponentially up as we see more corporations, banks, and individuals get into this space. And as those 2 curves change, the quantity of sales that we will see is going to go down for some of these projects. Overall quantity for sales will obviously rise. We're going to see more and more projects. But if we look at Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, the available supply for people is going to go down. The price of the price of those Bored Ape Yacht Clubs is going to go up because demand is going to skyrocket as this becomes more and more relevant. So remember to take your quick little microeconomics course study and look into and understand that if we see the demand curve move and spike and rise and supply is going to go down, this price point for a lot of these things is going to go way up. I don't think Bored Ape Yacht Club at 23 or whatever the floor is right now makes sense when we look at punks and we look at What are Fidenzas selling for? Like in cultural relevancy and cultural economic kind of, what that represents and what it's worth to people. I don't think that makes sense. And a lot of these projects that we're looking at right now, like Autoglyphs and Punks, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and Oni, and Cool Cats, and there's endless examples of like high quality ones right now. I'm expecting the price point on a lot of these to really go. We have not seen the big moves that we're really going to see, even though we've seen huge multiples. The other thing before I get on, make sure you go purchase a hardware wallet. This is more important than anything right now. Make sure you're being secure. You're securing your keys. You're not putting your assets at risk. That's part of the homework you ought to be doing before going and buying NFTs. Just understanding that there are security risks that you need to attend to. So the big news this morning that has me kind of spinning and going crazy is Visa news, and Visa, the bank, the credit card, their business is money, and it doesn't make it's not like it doesn't make sense that they're doing this. Visa announcing that they are making a purchase, or they have made a purchase for CryptoPunk 7610. And they released a white paper. They released a bunch of different perspectives into why they are interested in not only in NFTs but the blockchain. They mentioned flow in the white paper, which is super interesting. And it is bizarre to see large corporations that were laggards in original cryptocurrency adoption looking at NFTs and saying, we're not going to be laggards again. We're going to jump into it. And so Visa hopping into the CryptoPunk game, hopping into the NFT game. At the end of the day, like $150,000 to $200,000 acquisition is nothing to them. It's at the end of the day, it's kind of a marketing ploy, and a way to kind of cheaply say, hey, we're part of the community and we believe. But it is a signal that institutional money is coming, corporate money is coming. Credit card and banks and venture capital funds are coming. We're very early right now. This has sent the floor into quite the tizzy this morning. We'll get into that in a little bit, but absolute insanity there. The one thing I really wanted to spend a little time talking about, just because of how crazy it was, me, Video Game Freak, and Farouk hopped on a Twitter space Friday evening. Farouk was able to get Bobby Hundreds into the chat. Bobby Hundreds hopped up there. We started chatting. Logan Paul joined to talk with us, as well as FaZe Banks. We talked to him for about 25 minutes, somewhere in there. And then he dipped out, which was interesting because he dipped out and said, hey, I gotta bounce, but you'll hear from me. He left it kind of like as a cliffhanger. He got off the Twitter spaces, got right on the phone with Banks. They spent like 45 minutes chatting on the phone. And then Logan Paul pulled the trigger on 2 apes. We'll get into that in a second. We also had Corey Van Loo talking about his recent drop of Mike Tyson. We had Richard join. We had Justin Taylor join. We had 888 join. O'Shiny was up there, absolutely flaming people, dropping big knowledge. Keith Grossman, president of Time Magazine, hopped up. There were so many crazy people that hopped into that space, and were dropping just huge knowledge bombs. I'm excited to chat with Bobby Hundreds again this week, talking about how the drop went and his future plans. And there's some other big guests that we'll have on over the next 2 weeks that have reached out, so it's super exciting. This is one of the most iconic screenshots I think I've ever taken, with me, Farouk, Video Game Freak, O'Shiny, getting my brother up there. Jeremiah got up on stage. Jeremiah had his life changed over the weekend, getting a Oni one of the one-of-ones, the 7. And those, we saw sales and bids going for them for like 88.99 ETH bid this morning. Absolutely has life changed, winning one of those in the reveal. And then we got Bobby, Logan, FaZe, and it was wild. We peaked at one point. It looked at like 4,500 people in the space, so really crazy. Logan Paul, as I said, after hopping out, turned around, picked up 2 apes, 2 DMTs. He joined 3D Glasses Gang, which made me super excited and happy to see that. And, again, this is not like, and I know, he has money, he has other punks, he's not new to NFTs. But this should not be like overlooked as like, hey, he just threw like 300K at the project. The fact that he took a second to understand why Bored Ape Yacht Club is important, why people like them, is super, super cool to see him hop into this project. And, it's only the beginning, because a lot of people are going to start to look at this project as the more kind of like, I guess, culturally relevant one for when it comes to like, what celebrities own Bored Ape Yacht Club and what celebrities own punks. Like those, I think it's going to be kind of this different dynamic between the two. Are you an OG, or are you a little bit, newer OG that got into Bored Ape Yacht Club? I think both projects offer very different things, where we're going to see Bored Ape Yacht Club become a very relevant cultural brand, where we do see these collabs of like streetwear brands. It become, there are restaurants that are Bored Ape Yacht Club. There are different consumer packaged goods that are endorsed by Bored Ape Yacht Club members, and so many different ways where, punks will ultimately become like the grail OG collectors. I get NFTs, and there's so many other things I can add there. They're just two completely different projects, but I do think there's a different kind of like dynamic to these two being heavily sought after, hence why I do think that they are undervalued. As I mentioned, we watched the hundreds drop with Bored Ape Yacht Club happen. There was hoodies and t-shirts and a rug for sale. On the hundreds, you could get a public release edition of a blue hoodie and blue shirt, as well as the rug, and then the Bored Ape Yacht Club member exclusive was a black t-shirt and a black hoodie. I picked up a black t-shirt, black hoodie, and then a blue hoodie from the hundreds. I was not able to get the rug. I was debating just because of like living conditions and where we're at, if I wanted to grab one and where I would put it. And then when I finally was like, yeah, I should get it, they sold out. So hopefully I'll pick one of those up on secondary. It's probably going to cost me a little bit more, but we'll see what happens there. So Oni Force. Whew. I'm sorry. Like this morning has been really wild. Having discussions with, different people I've been talking to for months about buying punks and buying Bored Ape Yacht Club. Negotiating some sales, working on projects, working on the company stuff. There's been a lot that's happened this morning. And I really just come back to the whole fact that there is so much happening, and we're still early, and we still haven't seen this become like a, you can walk down the street and say NFT and somebody's gonna be like, yeah, what about it? And we're at a kind of a point where, 5% of, most people, or maybe less than that, I really don't know. Like most people still don't even know what it is, let alone own one, and let alone want one. That's where we're at right now. So Oni, and if you listen to the Justin Taylor interview, you can kind of hear that this is filling a gap where there isn't an anime project. It's filling a gap where the storyline and the possibility for a comic and the possibility for an animated series and, cool art that pops. Like, and I always tell people, if you're going to do a project and the art needs to pop, like, and I want that like enunciated P, that pop. Because I mean, the art really does catch your eyes. And we've seen some big purchases. I mean, double-digit sales for this project are not hard to come by. I've made a couple big bids. We saw this pearlescent sell for 27. Oh my gosh, big bid placed by Logan Paul this morning, 99 ETH. That's what I was talking about earlier when I said we saw a big 99 ETH bid for the one of ones. There's only 7 K4Ms And it's crazy. This project is one that I can really see these being worth well into the millions. Like if we look at Ghxsts and what that project has done, 99 ETH for this is a steal. I really do believe that. Let's see what else here. I'm just kind of scrolling through. Like this is a project, if you don't have it on your radar, you haven't picked one up, or you're not looking into it, you're gonna be left behind, because it really does. I get that Bored Ape Yacht Club feeling. The community is wild. Like I've never seen a Discord so crazy. It crashed OpenSea like 7 to 8 times, I think. The volume's been crazy. The one thing I will note is the floor was nearing 3 ETH yesterday, and then we saw these wallets start to sell, and we saw this with the CyberKongs. I think we've seen this with a couple projects where if you actually go look at the addresses and who's selling to who, it's a little odd. You can see some washing happening, and this isn't fully confirmed. It's technically, you can see addresses, and there's so much volume, it's hard to really show it well. But understand, like, if you see a price start to pull back, don't just sell because you see the floor dropping. If you picked it up at 3, don't noodle hand it at 2.5 when the floor prices start to drop. These are just people are definitely moving the market around a little bit. There's lots of money at play. When you buy something, I would most likely just shut the laptop, walk away, and understand that your purchases right now shouldn't, unless you're really flipping, and you're like, hey, this is like a quick, I'm going to buy it, relist it, and go away. But if you're buying one of these and it's a long-term purchase and you really believe in the project, buy it, just shut the laptop, or don't pull up walk away from it for a little bit. Because a lot of these projects, when they do come out, are very volatile. There's lots of people moving things around, trying to get deals, price discovery is crazy. When we saw this drop, the floor was at 0.4 Friday night. The reveal happened at 3 p.m. On Saturday. The floor went to 0.6. We saw it rise all the way up to 0.8, and then it dropped all the way back to 0.4, and then it ran to 1, and now we're at, then it even ran further to the 3, pulled back to 2.5, and then I'm not sure where we sit right now. But you can tell that there's always price discovery as volume, and that's supply and demand changes as people are trying to get out of things that they think are lower quality, and put it into higher quality assets. Just understand that if you think long term it's going to win, don't sell because you think, oh crap, I'm down 0.5 from where I bought. You got to kind of have that conviction to hold there. In other news, Kevin Rose picking up a Bored Ape Yacht Club Honorary Ape from, and it's crazy. It's a purchase from Ledger. 2 very big OGs in the space. The one thing I'll note here is this got a lot of, definitely a lot of bad sentiment from the community who have really strong feelings about what the honorary apes are. D's weighing in, Tropo weighing in. D's saying that the Bored Apes team made honorary apes for influencers at the time, and they didn't even ask our permission. They didn't send half of them out for months and finally did recently. I wouldn't call any of them honorary apes. Early contributors who worked on them hard, and I have one. They weren't contributors. They were just things that were made as marketing materials, ways for just to send to influencers and say, oh, I have an honorary one that's made for me. I think the sale for this went for 110 ETH. There's only 35 of them. Archik has sold hers, which I know she regrets. D's has his listed, I think, for 420. They don't come with, they're not official Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's its own project that doesn't come with the membership of it. And I know the Bored Ape Yacht Club definitely has some strong feelings that these aren't really apes. The people that got them don't really deserve them. There's people out there now that do. I definitely think Tropo, and some of these other apes that are really invested into building the project and supporting it. If there were to be an honorary ape project again, the right people would definitely get them. So I'm gonna get back into some of the news for what's happening here with CryptoPunks. Punk, and we had a big bid come in this morning. CryptoPunk, I don't know what its ID is, but it's an ape with the hat. Getting a bid of 2,000 at 69.65. I don't know how I didn't see that. It's been a long morning. 2,000 ETH, and I honestly think this is a steal if we're really getting down to it. Like a fair bid of like 4,000 would definitely be kind of even a steal. I think anything under $10 million for an ape right now is a steal. And this just shows that there's big money still at play. People have their eyes on punks, especially as this Visa announcement comes out. Another example that NFTs are not dead. Siren Zero, the bioluminescent siren, selling for 619.5 Ethereum, which is like dead on for 2 million USD. So $2 million sale for that project. It is so exciting to see this guy just continue to kill with his art. Again, these were available for like $20 originally. It was not a project that set out to make money. It was just a passion project, and the community around it built the value. The community around it is what has driven this. Everybody wants to be a part of it and own. The art just rocks. The stories rock. The culture in the community rocks. And even this can be considered a steal, I think. Like, if this project does what it set out to do, and executables happen, these will be like owning the original Mickey Mouse drawings. I really do think that. So, this is kind of that other Japanese culture for these like mythical creatures. I know that Oni has also kind of attacking this, but the fact that these are hand-drawn adds even more of a, original IP, original part of the project. And I think it's a little bit more emotionally attaching. So really, I have nothing but love for the Ghost project. I'm so stoked for this. Cannot wait to see what they do next. I wish I could pick another one up. I unfortunately flipped mine to get into other pieces, which I definitely regret. But yeah, keep an eye on Ghost as we go forward. I just want to highlight just kind of the craziness of what's happening here. The Ether Rock project price floor on Saturday hitting 250 ETH, which is $800,000. The floor quickly can go to 300 ETH, which is just wild to me. Like we're very, very much in a period where original collectibles are going to be sought after. Like we're defining the moment right now where we are really saying this is real. It's going to be real. It's going to stick around. People like it. We believe in it. And people want to own the oldest pieces of art and the oldest collectibles, and be able to kind of say, hey, this is what I own. And the fact that we've seen not only traditional art buyers, traditional collectors, institutions, banks, VCs, traditional art selling galleries, and auction houses such as Christie's and Sotheby's, that we've seen, technologists who I guess myself and like early adopters all in agreement, shaking hands. It's the shaking hands meme where everybody's like, yeah, we get it. We're all in agreement. This is real. It's going to stick around. And we're all kind of like looking at the rest of the world, like the normal people who haven't grasped this yet. And we're like, we're waiting. We're ready for you. So a lot of big bets being made that this is going to be super culturally relevant. And to give you an idea into that, Nick NFT is one of the smartest guys in this space. You really ought to take a look and see what he's doing if you're not following him. I believe this is Saturday, OpenSea breaking their record for how their sales volume, doing nearly $122 million. I think they went on that day to do close to like $140 million or $150 million in daily sales. The massive Fidenza sale happening, the Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, kind of rise in volume. Me Bits, we saw Oni. There's just so much happening, and there's such a crazy movement of money, and the fact that there's new money coming in each day. There's new active users. Like a couple weeks ago, I was like, there's only 50,000 active wallets, and then a couple days ago, or it was like a week or two ago, I can't remember when, but then that changed to 110,000 active wallets on OpenSea. And you know, it's hard because OpenSea it's not a chart where we can say, oh, like how many active wallets are here. They kind of release it when they talk, but every single day there's new wallets that are active, and like it's not like people jump in like, oh, I get it, bye, and then like people stick around, like they're pulled into it. And of course the money is one thing, but people really, really, really like what's happening right now. So NFT Nick kind of helping me out here, like, and this came out on Saturday. You know, Bored Ape Yacht Club floor taking off. There's also an Arizona iced tea announcement. I can see if I can pull that up for Bored Ape Yacht Club that I completely forgot about. A little bit of confusion here because they use the Bored Ape Yacht Club logo, and Bored Ape Yacht Club acknowledges that they never talked to them. I don't think they actually even own the ape. I believe that there's kind of like a licensing deal from the owner. That might need to be clarified, or if things have changed. And I know that there was a shout out to Bored Ape Comic. So there is, like, we're seeing bigger brands even acknowledge, like, hey, Bored Ape Yacht Club's a thing, and NFTs are a thing, and we want to be involved and want to show that we get what's going on. Will be interesting how that plays out. We saw the punk floor on Saturdays at 51. It is not at 51 anymore. And I was joking. I always feel like when I'm about to have enough to buy a punk, the floor evaporates. Like that's how I know when the punk floor is going to go, is when I finally have like things that are in place to buy one, it goes away. The floor is well into the 60s this morning. I think it's at like 65. Almost. Fidenza floor currently at 100 ETH on Saturday. I think that floor is even higher. We saw $11 million in sales in 24 hours. Fidenzas were just getting snapped up left and right. Big buyers, institutional money coming in. We saw Ghxsts at $78. I remember when G Money tweeted about it at $7. And then again, OpenSea having another big day. In $84 million worth of sales, which the next day I have the tweets reversed, breaking at 110, and then going on to break it more. So we look at the market right now. Let me refresh this because so much has happened. Art Block sitting at the top of the OpenSea's charts. CryptoPunks at 2, Bored Ape Yacht Club at 3, Parallel at 4, and then Oni at 5. You can see the volume craziness just because of that reveal over the last 7 days. So the last 24 hours, more and more money coming in. Art Block's floor for curated at 1.5. And there's been points where we've seen this project, at 0.6 and 0.9 and 0.8, and it's really just taken off as money has flowed in more and more to it being considered blue chip and CryptoPunks being a blue chip. Bored Ape Yacht Club currently sitting at 23 and a quarter ETH. Parallel at 0.18. Oni Force at 2.75 on the floor. Like I said, on reveal day, the floor is 0.6 to 0.4 on Friday night. You could have picked it up anywhere in there. It ran to 1. I picked up 1 or 2 at 1 ETH. And we're likely going to see this project continue to be well sought after. There might be a pullback, but I think long term that this project kind of has, like, I bet on communities. I bet on the creators, and I bet on communities. That's kind of the easiest two things as a filter to get rid of 99% of the projects that are going to fail. And when I look at the art and I look at kind of their roadmap and their mentality for the project, it just gets me more and more bullish. I'm going to try to talk more about projects that I'm analyzing because I talked a lot about Oni. And it's dangerous. I know Gary Vee has talked about it. It's dangerous to talk about projects and publicly kind of endorse them because if something does go wrong, like I would feel responsible saying, hey, like if, and this, isn't the case, but if I had endorsed Oni and said, hey, this is really cool, I like it, and it didn't do well, I would feel responsible because my due diligence, and I do understand people are listening to me. It's the same reason if I'm going to put my name on something, I try to do as much due diligence on that as possible, so that if anything were to happen, obviously I hope there doesn't, but I can minimize those risks. CyberKong's VX currently at 0.98 floor. That's still kind of holding steady over the last 24 hours. Nothing crazy happening there. Artblock's Playground and Factory certainly seem right now like the places to put money for a big return. Curated has just gotten really expensive, and I think there's a lot of Playground and Factory projects that just have not popped yet, and we'll likely see money start to flow into those as people really just want to have exposure to the entire Artblocks ecosystem. Pudgy Penguins kind of up and down and all around over the weekend, currently sitting at 2.1. We've seen it, like I said, we saw it go up, we saw it go down. There's been institutional money moving around here. The meme culture is still strong there. CyberKong sitting at 2.4 ETH floor. Definitely definitely like with the fact that it can cash flow for you. A lot of people want these Genesis Kongs and are willing to pay for it. The fact that you can buy one and essentially make 100K a year just owning it blows my mind. So that economy is really crazy. And I think it speaks volumes to what Punk's comics are going to do, sitting at 2.55 floor for MetaHask, the DAO tokens, and the comics. It speaks volumes to what is a generating asset going to do for you. When the real numbers come out for these and you realize when you stake or when you hold or when you stake DAO tokens, and you have these different tokens, what does the valuation happen? Like, what happens there? And I've said this with Punks. So when Punks finally cash flow, which they are, like, I'll go on the record, Punks will cash flow. The valuations will go to, 7 figures. And that's not a joke. Like, I really do think that being able to license, being able to rent, being able to receive revenues from other licensing deals is going to become a huge thing. And I also see this happening at Bored Ape Yacht Club and a lot of these other assets that I know the projects are thinking in the terms of how does this go from just being a piece of art and become an asset that, not only in the IP sense, but in the money flow sense, what happens to the market then for those projects. And I've talked a lot about this with people who are doing like apps and games, and they're saying like, hey, if you own 5 of these pieces, you will get a special token, and that special token will be used like for in-game currency on the iPhone store, and then you get part of the revenue share. And like there's this whole dynamic to, if people buy your character in the game, you get part of that. Like, and that's where like the IP and the NFT game really gets exciting, when you see that you can kind of almost be an owner. You are like an owner in a project, and that you're backing it. Gutter Cat Gang being like the real standout right now. I had a poll for what the best cat project is. It got about 700 votes. About 30% or 50% of them for Cool Cats, 30% for Gutter Cats, and then the rest were, for other people saying Moon Cats. A large portion of people coming in and being real meme lords and saying Stoner Cats was the primary cat project to buy. But Gutter Cats have really shown that the lower supply is really paying dividends on pricing. We saw Richard pick one up. I know that there are some big announcements coming out for the project over the next couple weeks here. I'm going to be going on the Gutter Cat show to chat with them about the project and some other things. I'm also very much interested to see what happens, with their, what does the project do next? Like, do we see more airdrops? Do we see more collaborations? So Gutter Cat Gang sitting at 4.4 ETH floor. It just shows that a lot of these projects that have been kind of slept on a little bit, that there's these kind of like, oh, are you this or that? Like when you see those kind of like controversies and the strong culture from within, again, the community is one of my big analyses or filters. We've seen a lot of stuff around the gang culture. And people using that, the gutter cats will always post and they'll say gang. And seeing that kind of take over Twitter and Discord has been enlightening. And I think it's a great signal for why the project has done well. Ghost floor at 6.5. That was hovering around 3.5 for the last couple weeks, finally popping off of a 2x. Cool Cats still kind of like, it comes back to, I've said this almost every week, like Cool Cats has just been chilling, like between the 1.4, 1.3 and the 1.8 range. It's just been chilling in here. We have not seen this project pop off yet. I still think this has a 3 or 4x in it, like within reason. Like, obviously I don't think it's going to go to 100 ETH floor, but like I really do see that this project has not received in pricing kind of the appreciation that I would expect it to have. So if you haven't picked something up, you have 2 ETH right now, I would look at like Oni, Cool Cats, Meebits potentially, Punk's Comic, CyberKongs VX, maybe a Bored Ape Kennel Club. There's so many, like maybe a Treeverse plot, like, and that's more of like a long-term play. But there's definitely things out there right now that are kind of like exciting, worth owning. And I do think, if you have 2 ETH, you can explore some of these projects and see which one you vibe with the most. Meebits sitting at 2.6 floor. Damien Hirst used to be one of those projects I would say to pick up if you have a few ETH lying around. Is currently at a 9.6 ETH floor. Really starting to go back to where we saw when we saw that spike a couple weeks ago. The Wicked Ape Bone Club has resurrected, seeing insane volume. The floor there at 0.1. I would maybe pick this up. Like, it's getting, like, it looks cool. It's getting some love. The floor is at 0.1. They look cool. Like, they really do look cool. I'm curious what happens here. Like, and we've seen this Bone Club, like the bone, from the logo kind of have like a relevancy. The 3D glasses is cool. I'm actually curious, and I'm going to just do this cause we're here, looking at stuff. Okay. The 3D glasses has a solid, number here. It's cool. It's a cool project. I like the art. 3,600 owners. That's awesome. I like to see that distribution. The art seems cool. 0.26. Oh, it's interesting. I like it. World of Women popping off. More back to a 1 ETH floor. I love the project. I've said this like numerous times. I really like the project. I've been a big endorser in it. We've also seen Cypher pop off to 7.5. This was sitting at 2.5 floor before the weekend. Solvency 13 ETH. Seeing this really pop off. I know Farouk bought one, I think. Bored Ape Kennel Club at 2.3. That's kind of just chilling. Haven't seen that go too crazy yet. VFriend still at 7.5. Treeverse at 1.5. And I think for a Founders Plot, the price is 2 ETH for Founders Plot floor. The Mike Tyson project currently at 1 ETH on the floor. Anything else? I saw some analysis around Subducks being a laggard and not really popping off as much as we had expected. That's a potentially true, but I just don't see the community around it, so I've sat out. I don't get into a Twitter Spaces or look in Discords, and I don't see everybody using Subduck avatars. When I see that happen, then I'll start to be like, all right, the community's still there, the community's strong on it. That's why I've kind of stepped back and haven't bought. My Curo cards, seeing more volume over the last 24 hours. I ought to pick this up. Like, I keep telling myself, there's just so many projects and so many ways to make money. But there's only so much ETH people have, and it really will thin you out. So the Subducks project, my Curo cards at 0.3. Anything else crazy happening here? Fluff World at 0.48. Stoner Cats at 0.35. We're heading lower and lower on the Stoner Cats project. Let's see. Future, our Fortune Media, currently at 16.8. Nothing crazy there. Kind of been sitting there the last couple days. Hash Mass at 0.68. It's a OG project kind of, in the sense that, it didn't happen in 2017 alongside Punks, but it is one of those projects when we look back to 2021 that was very relevant back in January, February, March, when that happened, and kind of we got this big initial flood of people in, and we're still seeing it at 0.68. It's interesting there. We'll have to watch and see what happens long term with that project. Definitely keep an eye on it. Tom Sachs launching rockets this Saturday. The floor is 3 ETH. I'll definitely try to get some coverage. I'll be in New York City, I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be shooting on Saturday for a documentary. That'll be exciting. But if you are in New York and you want to hang, you want to grab lunch, you want to grab food, you want to talk NFTs, let's hang out. Shoot me a DM or message me on my Discord. Way easier there. Twitter DMs are just trash. We'll hop into some of these projects. I've been rambling a lot this episode. I'm sorry about that. Just so much happening. Bored Ape Yacht Club, like I said, 23 ETH floor. As far as volume goes, we're seeing volume spiked up on the 20th, and then we're kind of seeing volume dip down. So I'm expecting this price point or average sale price to come down a little bit, but I am expecting this floor to hold pretty strong, especially with the Mutant Apes announcement still pending. There's been a lot of theories into that. If you go into the website with the banner art, you can see that the internal image of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, they've removed the out of order sign off of the Mutant Apes game, and a lot of people are saying, hey, is it going to be a game? Does getting a mutant ape allow you some sort of game access, or is it a game character? What does that mean? If that happens and they do it so if you own a Bored Ape, you get a mutant ape, and then they increase the supply on mutant apes to like 50,000, I think that would be like the most like 2,000 IQ move you can make, because I think at the end of the day, if we're looking at these projects and there's only 10,000 of these, and you can make kind of your own internal derivative to the project and then open it up to, thousands and thousands and thousands of people, what ends up happening is you allow for many other people to get into the project and relate and say, hey, I'm part of the brand, I'm part of the culture, I get it, I like it, but it's affordable. Again, would be really smart. I think that's kind of the Larva Labs plan with Meebits. I think there'll be more than 20,000 Meebits. I think it'll be, this thing where you see brands collaborating, you can sell and trade and change the clothing. That's why I think Meefits is going to be a thing, like different outfits for Meebits. That's why I really think that, if Bored Ape Yacht Club increases the supply on these mutants and makes it a more accessible project, we really see that brand become more valuable. Art blocks, floor 1.5, like I mentioned. The crypto blots really being the pickups that I've seen pop off the last 24 hours. The rest of this is the same thing we've kind of seen. Fidenzas selling for 100. It's not like the volume's low. Like the last 30 minutes, we've seen like 300 ETH and Fidenza sell. There's just so much money coming into the market. I'm curious on Squiggles, what we're seeing on a Squiggle floor currently. The Squiggle floor is at, let's see here, by now. The Chromie Squiggle floor is sitting at 9 ETH. 9. Wow. And I do this every once in a while, but I think what's important here is a lot of people are all looking at the Punks floor and they're saying, wow, look, the Punks floor is in the 60s now. and all, Visa owns a punk. What's going to happen now is, yeah, punks are going to rise, but it's not like people are only going to be like a venture capitalist fund or institutional money is going to be like, yeah, we only want punks. They're going to look at crypto Chromie Squiggles and say, we want a squiggle. They're going to look at Twin Flames and say, we want one of the 100. They're going to look at Bored Ape Yacht Club and say, we want one of those, like, because it's got such a great culture and everybody wants it. They're going to look at Ghxsts and Oni, and they're going to look at all these other projects and say, we want exposure to the NFT market. And what honestly I can see happening is there's going to be people who buy these, make a portfolio of a couple of squiggles, a couple punks, a couple Bored Apes, and we're going to have like almost NFT ETFs pop up because everybody wants exposure to these assets because they have value. They're sought after. There is intrinsic value. And it's just crazy to see it happening in real time. So Slinky's at 13 ETH on the floor, Fuzzies and we've seen Fuzzies and Slinky's kind of be an ARB opportunity. So now we're seeing them back. They're priced closer together. Definitely seeing the floor on Fuzzies pull back. Fuzzies currently sitting at 13, ribbed with a lower supply currently at 14. Interesting. So we're seeing a little bit of pullback. This might be the opportunity if you have the money. Yeah, and more of a pullback on Bold. We saw Bold all the way up to 42 at one point, 45. Definitely people trying to move money around there. And then we'll just look at Pipes at currently 70. So we haven't seen much happen there. So Chromie Squiggles kind of almost like a little bit of a pullback. I am expecting that though, as money rolls in, for those prices to come flying back up. The floor on Oni's 2.75 in the last 30 minutes, seen a couple hundred ETH here probably in the last hour or so in the project. Seen some cool pickups, a 35 ETH sale to the NFTer. Great pickup here for 5.66. Let's see, anything other crazy sales? 30 ETH sale, 7. There's big money coming into this project. A lot of people making bets. A lot of people like the art. They like the kind of story and the lore and the culture within the project. So do not sleep on this, please. I'm begging you. Full disclosure, I own 3. I'm going to give one to a friend who I bought one for. So that'll go down to 2. I'll probably pick up another one. But, I don't want to sound like I'm pumping my own bags, but I really do believe in this project from having been in this space for a couple months and having bought winners and losers and getting that feeling in my chest. This is one I get a good feeling, and I've been right mostly when I listen to my chest and what I feel internally is right. I did talk about CyberKongz VX. The floor around 1. We're still seeing good volume here. The volume has pulled back. A lot of the charts that we're currently looking at having this lower volume since Friday. But I do think that we'll see this start to uptick as, that Visa news has stirred people to have conversations like me with, retirement managers, wealth managers, parents, friends, to the point of I'm moving money around every day and trying to figure out where can I expose myself, even if it means I'm potentially adding a little bit more risk to the table, exposing myself for something I have insane conviction in the long term, because I believe in the space. So I am expecting CyberKongz and CyberKongz VX to rise in pricing, rise in volume. We can see average price here going up even more. Again, we're seeing these Genesis Kongs going for more and more because of that cash flowing ability. 105, 30s, 40s, 39, huge sales coming in. So super exciting. I know I called out and some other guys that were buying Kongs and whatnot. Definitely keep an eye on that project. I want to quickly just put some light onto my portfolio real quick. Shout out to Ratwell for the couch. It means a lot. I remember back when all the OGs were getting couches. The fact that I finally have a Ratwell derivative just blows my mind, and I cannot be more humbled and appreciative to that. Also, so I picked up 2 Onis. These are mine currently. This Oni is for a friend. I picked up a spotty piece. Thank you, Tropo. Crypto Beast sent me one of the eggs that I got for claiming. I never claimed it, so I finally claimed my Crypto Beast egg. CyberKong's VX. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there. Zooming in. 2 Derpy Birds, and then just a lot of Punks comics. Not trying to like show off what I have, but just showing like, I'm actively like looking at and what's happening. Otherwise, not really anything crazy going on as far as my purchases. The Oni's kind of being my big stuff. Shout out to Spotty. Spotty's a true one. And we'll kind of wrap this show up here with just Cryptopunks. Like, I'll refresh this because I don't know what's happened since I started recording this an hour ago, or how long have we been going. But if we look at Cryptopunks real quick, and we're going to change this to the 23rd so we get the day in here as well, there has been, this chart's pretty incredible to see the spike up in the beginning of August, end of July, to see the spike with, around Gary V's purchase, volume trailing off, the price coming down, median total sales coming down, and just to see the pop off this morning. The day before we saw in total sales 31, and within the first 10 hours of today, already seeing 165 sales. It's another huge day. Tomorrow might be another huge day. I'm expecting these charts to kind of, or like these spikes to play off here. A big event happens. We see a big rise. The floor makes its next step up. I think what we'll see here is the floor will likely settle up around 65 once the dust settles. Definitely seeing resistance on the floor at 65, but punks are, it's blue chip, it's sound money. ETH is sound money, and I'm really excited for everybody. Okay, I take that back. We're at almost a 70 ETH floor on punks. Forget the 65. Holy crap. So 70 ETH on punks. The floor is looking, floor has been chewed through, and I think everybody should send out prayers and thoughts to the people on the East Coast and West Coast who slept in this morning. Especially the people on the West Coast, like Visa making that announcement at like 6 a.m. Eastern time. If you slept in and you had your punk listed on the floor, it really sucks, and it's going to sting to see that happen. And so you make a sale at like 54, and now the floor is at 50, almost 70. That's not a little bit of money. We're talking like, 50 grand worth of potential profits. So yeah, this is certainly hard to watch happen as somebody who doesn't own a punk, because I think this only increases. I still think the floor on punks goes to 1 million. I still think that punks are the kind of most OG and grailed thing as far as like global acknowledgement will be. Like, yeah, there are, the Lost Robbies, and there are the autoglyphs, but it really, punks will always be kind of like that. Hey, this is my profile photo. Like, I'm a punk. I'm a punker. So I do see these kind of being that grail piece for so many people. Refreshing this page because obviously this has been moving around. So remember when we had the Gary V purchase? We had to go a couple pages back. Let me see here. I went too far. So just within the first 10 hours of the day, we have to go 3 pages back. And we are seeing currently everything from, wild hairs, hoodies of shades. I know Beanie picked up a hoodie yesterday and stole it for like 160 ETH. Everything's selling. Every price point. It's not just the floor. Obviously, the floor got eaten up. but we're seeing 100 ETH sales. We're seeing 200 ETH sales. We're seeing VRs go. We're seeing, every attribute go for sale. It's not like people are being picky and saying, I only want someone on the floor. Punk that I had my eye on, another Smile going for sale. 3Ds, obviously, really going for sale. Let's see, anything really crazy on this page? Nothing too insane. I mean, Blondes, a Clown. This page alone, okay, so we got a 200 ETH wild, the crazy hair with the 200 ETH sale. 68 ETH for that one. Just wild, crazy numbers going around here. I mean, this is like $20 million right here, at least, like in sales in 2 hours. There's a lot of money moving around. Let's see. There was one on here that I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that sold. A lot of 3D selling. Got a VR sale here, 150 ETH, 220 hoodie sale, 150 ETH VR sale, a blush for 80, cowboy for 135, cowboy for 125. I love that cowboy, so cool. Top hats going for sale. I mean, we're gonna be at a point here where to pick up a punk, it's gonna cost $500,000 very soon. I'm would not be surprised by that or scared off by that. Obviously your upside tremendously goes down as we see the floor go up and up. And the time to buy was last year in 2022. Actually, the time to buy was in 2017. What am I saying? So looking at the crypto market overall, I just want to put a note on this because things are definitely setting up for an interesting point. The last 7 days seen Bitcoin up 8%, Ethereum up 4%, Bitcoin currently at $50,000, and Ethereum currently at $3,360. Entire market of cryptocurrency being valued at $2.16 trillion. I wanted to just highlight the Ethereum chart. Obviously, I'm highlighting Ethereum over Bitcoin just because of the NFT market. Functions in Ethereum. You can criticize my TA all you want. I just drew some lines to give an example of kind of what we're looking at here. And I do, like I said, I'm not a trader. I just drawing lines, looking for patterns. We are seeing this floor hold around 3,000. We are currently just breaking through the support or that ceiling at 33. And really what I see here is if we start to pop above this, it's really going to take off. If we do kind of have a pullback, we'll probably come and test 3,200, 3,2222 out again on this up leg. But we are above this like forever red support. This goes back like all the way back to like March. So there is like this rising support line here, or not March, that big dip that we had, that we're finally above. We're above a lot of support indicators where, if we fall, we're not going to go driving down to 1,800 immediately. So definitely keep an eye on this. It's kind of prepping itself to take off, in my opinion. And with all the money and attention, I certainly can see this, making a move back up towards 4K. Everybody there, this was kind of a scattered and all over the place episode. I'm trying to be more consistent. But this morning was certainly, an anomaly as far as sales and, just craziness from the weekend and so many topics and things happening. If you're new to the channel and you spent the last hour watching this, definitely take the time to do research, like look through all the projects that are mentioned, try to understand what's happening. Don't just throw money at something because I mentioned it, or because other people are buying. Definitely try to understand what you're buying into. Only spend money that you can spend. And like I said, just take your time. It's not like, if you don't own it today, you're going to miss out on the entire market. I definitely might make it seem that way, the way I talk about punks. But it certainly is frustrating as somebody who's been around and trying to buy a punk since February when I decided to buy one. Making crazy trades, making things happen, and just missing the boat every single time I get the ETH lined up for a purchase. But like I said, can't be emotional. It's got to be totally analytically driven and numbers driven. So do your research. I'll catch you guys on tomorrow's show. If you have anything that you would like to let me know, leave a comment below, and have a good one. Peace.